Hello, so my name is Alex Walker. I'm a SDN and NFV consultant, and what I'd like to show you today is a demonstration of some of our lab facilities that we've been working on recently. I've got a demo that shows Juniper's Contrail SDN controller and a little bit of OpenStack. And what we're going to do is create some new services. So let's take a scenario where you've got some existing customers. We're going to set up some web hosting for them, all within the Contrail and OpenStack environment. We're going to connect these virtual networks through to physical networks using Juniper's MX router, their Universal SDN Gateway. And then a little bit later on, we're going to introduce a network function, do some network function virtualization. We're going to introduce a Juniper firewall, a virtual firewall, their Firefly product, to protect this environment. And maybe if we get time, we'll add in a little bit of F5 load balancing as well. Okay, so we've got the network you can see here on the screen, hopefully, where you can see some of the bits and pieces we've got connected up in our environment here. We've got our MX routers, we've got our Contrail configuration nodes and our control nodes and our compute nodes. And what we're going to do now, you're going to follow me on the screen here. So I've got my Contrail web UI here. Everything I'm going to show you here today, you can either configure using the user interface here or via some REST APIs. So everything I'm showing you here can be scripted if you'd so like. All right. So what I've got here is the Juniper Contrail dashboard. You can see here I've got two vRouters configured. These are the Contrail nodes that support the virtual machines that we're going to be creating. And Contrail has a virtual router element that does the routing between them all. So for those of you who are familiar with service provider MPLS networks, the vRouter component essentially is like a PE router, and it connects all of your different tenants and all of their different virtual machines together. I've got my configuration node here. This is the node I'm interacting with. I've got some analytics nodes which record flow data from all of the vRouters, and they give you some great information about what's going on in your software-defined network. And we've got the control nodes here. The control nodes are the nodes that sit in between the configuration nodes and the vRouters and make sure that the real state of your network ties up with how the configuration ought to look. The control nodes also peer using BGP off to your real PE routers, our MX routers in this case. Software-defined networks are all well and good, but you can't leave them hanging in their own little virtual world. At some point you have to connect them to the real world. So we've got some MX routers that are going to do that for us. Okay, I've also got here OpenStack. OpenStack is our orchestration system that we're using here. The orchestration system is responsible for creating three things. It instructs our compute environment, so that goes and spins up some virtual machines for us when we want to do that. It sets up our storage for these virtual machines. And thirdly, it speaks to an SDN controller element to say, hey, go create me these virtual networks. These virtual machines I've created over here, Mr. SDN, can you please tie them up to these virtual networks? So Contrail does that job, and OpenStack and Contrail sit right next to each other. The two really are hand in hand. What you'll see is that as I configure elements in one, they're immediately visible in the other. And indeed, some of the tasks you do, you can configure in either part. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new tenant. So let's say one of your existing customers has got in contact and says he's got a new requirement.